FDA to lift restrictions on gay and bisexual blood donors. As reported by Queer News Tonight in special breaking news on Friday, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has announced that it is lifting long-standing categorical restrictions preventing sexually active gay and bisexual men, well, that excludes me, from donating blood. The FDA has issued draft recommendations for donor eligibility criteria, which under donor eligibility will be determined based on individual risk assessment similar to the way donors are screened in countries like the United Kingdom and Canada. All potential donors, regardless of gender or sexual orientation, will be asked to complete a donor history questionnaire. Based on those responses, blood collectors will determine whether the individual needs to be deferred from donating for a 3-month period. Only people diagnosed with and taking treatment for HIV are banned from donating for life. The questionnaire will ask donors about various behaviors. One of those questions will ask if a person has had any new sexual partners in the past 3 months. Well, that rules me out again. Those who answer no will be permitted to give blood. Those with new sexual partners in the past 3 months will then be asked if they've engaged in anal intercourse in the past 3 months, with only those who answer affirmatively being asked to defer donating for 3 months.
Today's draft recommendations provide an opportunity to expand donor eligibility while still upholding these responsibilities and minimizing the risk of transmitting infectious diseases. The new approach proposes that the current donor history questionnaire be revised to ask all prospective donors, regardless of their gender, about new or multiple sexual partners in the past 3 months. Prospective donors who report having a new partner or more than one partner in the past 3 months would then be asked about a history of anal sex in the past 3 months. All prospective donors, regardless of their gender identifications, who report having a new partner or more than one partner and anal sex in the past 3 months would be deferred from donation. Any individual who has ever had a positive test for HIV or who has taken any medication to treat HIV infection would continue to be deferred permanently. Additionally, under the proposed policy, individuals taking medications to prevent HIV infection, such as pre-exposure prophylaxis, also known as PrEP, or post-exposure prophylaxis, or PEP, would be deferred. More specifically, those taking oral PrEP would be deferred for 3 months from their most recent dose, and those taking injectable PrEP to prevent HIV infection would be deferred for 2 years from their most recent injection. We note that some blood establishments currently have deferral policies related to the use of medications to prevent HIV infections. We're recommending this deferral as the available data demonstrate that the use of these medications may delay detection of HIV by licensed screening tests for blood donations, potentially resulting in false negative results. However, this doesn't mean that individuals should stop taking these medications to donate blood. We recognize that while these draft recommendations, when finalized, will potentially increase the number of individuals eligible to donate blood, some individuals will still be deferred from donating. And that said, the FDA will continue to track the latest data relevant to PrEP and blood donation.
All right, so I don't get it. Why can't they just test the blood after it's been donated to see if it's been contaminated, with any kind of cooties or something?
They do, but the problem is the volume they have to take in. They do test everything. In some cases, you have to do much more in-depth testing, which takes much longer and greatly slows the supply, backs up the labs. So they're doing this as a way to let stuff go through the quick screening easier so they can get more blood supply without having to do in-depth testing on everything.
And I'm sure there's an expense involved too.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid.
All right, but there are a couple of things though. Like some people, as far as the questionnaire is concerned, some people might not be truthful about it, number one. But number two, let's face it, some people might not remember having sex the night before. I mean, I've had several drunken nights where I woke up.
And that's always going to happen. And there is an issue with transmission through donated blood that still occurs to this day because of things like that, because they don't do the in-depth scanning on everything.
I'm going to make this a little more complicated to Peter's point. My late husband may his memory be a blessing, was HIV positive for 24 years at the time of his death. We never engaged in anything that was unsafe. You know, are they gonna, you know, kick me out the door simply because I slept next to a man for, you know?
Well, no, that's with the new policy. If you've never tested positive, you can donate. You can even be sexually active, you know, and you can still donate. A lot of people bring up the PrEP conversation. The thing is, PrEP is not infallible. It's only a 1 or 2% infection rate on PrEP, but it exists. And what will happen sometimes is PrEP will actually slow the HIV in your system from, if you do get that bypass, from appearing in tests, because it is fighting it as your immune system is. So somebody who may have become positive on PrEP, but not know it yet because the PrEP's slowing the infection rate, could end up, and that's why when you're on PrEP, you have to go get tested every 3 months, because there is that chance. It's a step. It's a big step in the right direction. Instead of just blankly saying, if you've had sex with a man since 1978, you can't donate blood. That was the previous rule, which was ridiculous. I wasn't even born yet. So and
it kept me, you know, the one girlfriend I had in my history, she took like 20, 30 units of blood during the course of her chemotherapy. And it's like, please give blood. You know, she had donated her entire, I couldn't give on behalf of this woman because
the restrictions.
yeah, they're sticking with science now, and it's a huge step.
Sure.
And like here in South Florida, one of the largest growing populations of new infection are actually straight people, especially black and brown people, lower income. And so having a blanket policy for people who engage in risky behavior is what should have been done originally.
Right.
I mean, I'm a big old hoe. I'll be back in the corner. I'm on PrEP, you know, still. But like, I also don't donate blood because I know that, you know, I'd have to go a while before I could.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.